There are places on Earth where gravity does not whisper. It announces itself. Cliffs, canyons, waterfalls. Here, falling is not a suggestion. It is a certainty. And yet, on the edge of the largest continuous curtain of falling water on the planet, people sit. They lean forward. They smile. They extend their arms into cold mist. Below them, the Zambezi River drops more than 300 feet into a void that never rests. The sound is thunder without pause. The power is absolute. And still, human beings calmly rest inside a natural rock pool at the very brink of disappearance. No barrier, no rope, no second chance. This place is called Devil's Pool, and it exists where survival should not be negotiable. The river does not allow visitors every day. There are mornings when guides arrive early, walk to the edge, look down, and quietly turn back. No announcement, no explanation, just a decision. Because Devil's Pool is not always there. For most of the year, this edge is unapproachable, uninhabitable. A place where water does exactly what gravity demands. Only when the river lowers, only when the flow softens, does the pool appear. Not gradually, suddenly, as if the river has made room. And when it does, people are allowed to enter a place they are never meant to survive. To understand why Devil's Pool should not exist, you must understand Victoria Falls. This is not a waterfall you look at. It is a waterfall you are inside. More than a mile wide. A wall rather than a stream. A horizon made of motion. At peak flow, hundreds of millions of litres of water cross the edge every minute. The ground vibrates. Mist rises hundreds of feet into the air. Rain falls from a sky with no clouds. Early explorers called it the smoke that thunders. Nothing about this place suggests mercy. And yet, at the exact lip of this collapse, the river hesitates. Those who approach Devil's Pool describe the same internal conflict. Your eyes say, "Do not step closer." Your body says, "Do not lean." Your memory says, "This is how people disappear." But your guide keeps walking. And eventually, so do you. The stone beneath your feet slopes gently downward. The water grows colder, faster, then suddenly, calmer. The roar remains, but the surface smooths. And against every rule your nervous system has learned, you lie down, face toward the edge, chin just above the water, and watch the river vanish. At first, nothing dramatic happens. That's the most unsettling part. No sudden pull, no surge, no violent tug toward the brink. Instead, the water presses inward. Your body drifts, but not forward. The current does something your instincts cannot predict. It resists the fall. A guide stands close, still, unconcerned. Because what holds you here is not courage, it is structure. Beneath Devil's Pool, the rock forms a shallow stone lip. As the river rushes forward, some of the water spills over the edge, but some of it is forced downward, then backward. A slow hydraulic circulation forms. At the surface, water drifts toward the brink. Below the surface, it curls back in on itself. Anything floating near the top is gently returned inward. The pool behaves less like a river and more like a rotating bowl, a natural containment. The drop still exists. The force still exists. But the direction has changed. Your eyes see emptiness. Your ears hear violence. Your skin feels calm. Your inner ear senses stability. The brain struggles to reconcile this. Everything about the visual field signals death. Everything about the physical sensation signals safety. This is the same conflict that creates vertigo, but intensified, because the scale is enormous. The sound is constant. The consequence is understood. So the mind hesitates. And in that hesitation, a strange quiet often follows. Not fear, not excitement, stillness. Human survival depends on pattern recognition. Edges mean falling. Waterfalls mean death. These rules kept us alive. At Devil's Pool, those ancient rules encounter an exception. The body floats. The water resists. The edge holds. The brain must update its model of reality in real time. And that recalibration feels profound because it is rare. The brain does not often receive permission to relax in the presence of a drop. Here, it must. Devil's Pool is only accessible for part of the year. When the Zambezi swells, the circulation collapses. The water overwhelms the basin. The protection disappears. The pool becomes what it should always be: a death zone. This seasonality adds to its mythology. A place that opens, a place that closes. A threshold rather than a destination. Those who enter do so guided, timed, carefully watched. Because while the illusion of safety exists, the power remains real. The river is not controlled. It is momentarily arranged. In the mystery spot, nothing could hurt you. At Magnetic Hill, nothing could take you. At the Oregon Vortex, nothing could move you. Here, everything could. And yet, it doesn't. This changes the emotional colour of the illusion. Devil's Pool is not playful. It is reverent. It commands silence. People speak softly here. They move slowly. Not because they are told to, but because something about the setting demands it. This is not perception mischief. This is proximity to consequence. And that proximity sharpens awareness. At Devil's Pool, gravity is not absent. It is overwhelming. The falls prove that. But its expression becomes divided. Water is falling. You are not. The senses struggle with that separation. The eye expects motion to continue. The body experiences resistance. So gravity feels selective, as though it applies everywhere except where you are. And anything that feels selective feels intentional. Which is why so many people describe this place in spiritual terms. Not because of belief, but because of experience. Devil's Pool does not break gravity. It reveals complexity. The fact that simple forces create intricate outcomes. The fact that danger is not uniform. The fact that nature does not operate in straight lines. It curls. It circulates. It negotiates. And perception, once again, must negotiate with it. Because what you expect to happen is not always what the environment has arranged. On the edge of Victoria Falls, people still enter the water. They still drift toward the brink. They still feel that moment where instinct fails to predict outcome. The river still roars. The mist still rises. The drop still waits. But the pool still holds. Devil's Pool does not defy gravity. It frames it. It shows how a force so constant can still produce places where expectation collapses. And when expectation collapses, wonder fills the space. Because if the most powerful waterfall on Earth can briefly allow a human being to rest at its edge, then perhaps the planet is not only a machine of laws, but also a sculptor of exceptions. Next time, we travel to a forest where trees bend in ways no wind should allow, and the land itself appears to have remembered something violent. A place called the Crooked Forest.